Finch, the latest Tom Hanks movie, just released on November 5th, 2021, exclusively on Apple TV. And let's get right into it. Now, before I do a review of this movie, there's going to be some minor spoilers. Not huge spoilers, because I don't want to do that, but I do need to talk about the minor ones, as it kind of brings in some negativity in my review. Now, if you haven't seen Finch and you want to watch it without my review, please stop watching my review now and go and see it. Now, the only trick to that is, which will lead into my other part of the review, is you need an Apple subscription to see this movie. It's not on the big screen anywhere that I know of, and it's not on any other streaming platform at this point. So let me get right into it. First off, I'm a huge Tom Hanks fan. Whatever movie he is part of, usually it turns out to be a pretty good product. And overall, before I get into this review, I did enjoy this movie, okay? But there are some things I need to discuss. So what is Finch? Basically, Finch is the premise is a robot that lives on a post-apocalyptic Earth, which was built to protect the life of his dying creator's beloved dog. So basically, Tom Hanks is this creator, and he creates a robot, sort of like a robot slash android, basically to care for his dog should he meet his demise, which I'll talk about the cons later. Now, first of all, overall, the movie is beautifully shot. It never loses your attention for any reason whatsoever, and there really is an emotional arc to this movie between Tom Hanks, his four-legged furry friend who he truly cares about, and the relationship he starts to build with this robot that he's designed, and this robot starts to take on kind of his own personality in this movie. Let's get into the cast of this movie. It's not very big. There's only really three people here. Tom Hanks obviously portrays the title character Finch, and the robot is named Jeff, and voiced by an actor, you wouldn't know it until you go and do the research. Caleb Landry Jones is a pretty good actor himself. And then, of course, the four-legged friend. Now, I'm looking at Google's cast here for the movie, and it has a number of other actors and actresses. I never saw any of those actors and actresses in this movie, which is fine, but I'm not sure why they're listed here. The movie itself is an hour and 55 minutes. Like I say, it runs at a pretty good pace. It never loses your attention. And it is interesting to see these post-apocalyptic worlds, such as The Walking Dead, etc. This one's different. It appears that some sort of solar flare has basically hit the planet Earth and basically killed everybody and anything in its way, and that you can't be out in the direct sunlight, which is going to lead into some of my cons. But first, let's get into the pros. Like I say, there's an emotional arc here. You see these characters, you see Jeff, the robot, develop a sense of feeling, I guess, with the character of Finch and the four-legged friend. And, they're basically just trying to survive. Roaming around from city to city, trying to find essential supplies like food, for example. He's kind of in this underground area that we first come upon the characters. And Finch has like a good food supply. He's got a pretty good setup there. But for whatever reason, he determines they're running low on supplies and he needs to relocate into this huge motorhome, which is actually pretty cool. It's got huge wheels, etc. And they go from one location to the other. And they make a point of you cannot go out into the direct sunlight. Otherwise, you'll start to fry and get third-degree burns, I guess. And again, just beautifully shot. The special effects in this movie are quite good. I believe Robert Zemeckis, who's well known for previous movies with Tom Hanks, was involved in this movie, probably given the special effects area of it. And there's no violence in this movie. That's another con. There's no bad guys. There's no there sort of is, and I'll get into that, but there's no real bad guys in this movie. There's no violence. There's no fighting. It's just a matter of survival, but it's more about the human connection. So overall, I felt that was really good. I was really invested in these characters, and I wanted to see what happened next. So overall, I enjoyed the movie. Now, let me get into some of the negatives that I have with this movie. The problem I have with this movie is there's plot holes. And what I mean by that is there's either plot holes or they've just failed to explain why something is the way it is. Now I'm going to get into some minor spoilers here, okay? So first of all, we see that pretty much everybody's dead on the planet, but it's never really touched on to why everybody's dead and why everybody hasn't gone into emergency shelters, etc. We've also, it makes you think, why is Tom Hanks the only survivor? What's so special about this guy? He's some sort of robotic engineer of some sort, but why did he survive and nobody else did? It doesn't make any sense there either. The other problem I have, and I'm nitpicking at this point, is when they're traveling on the highway, you'll see lots of sand drifts, as if there was a big sandstorm, because there are storms in this movie, and they're kind of frightening when you see them from a distance. But there's lots of sand drifts on the highway. So as he's motoring along in his motorhome, huge wheels, of course, it never brings up the issue of what if a sand drift is too big that he can't get over. It seems that he can get through anything with these big wheels. Now, the other thing that I have an issue with here is apparently it's like a scorching oven when you're out in the heat. Yet he's traveling in this motorhome, and for whatever reason, it's not like a hot metal box, which makes no sense to me. And again, this is either a plot hole or it's just something they never explained. Had they explained it, taken the 2 minutes in the movie to explain it, I would have been, wow, okay, that makes sense. The problem I have with these plot holes is it distracts you from enjoying the movie because you're too busy thinking, well, how does that work? That makes no sense. It aggravates you a bit and then it takes away from the enjoyment of the movie. Had they invested another 30 seconds or a minute in this movie to explain it, and to me, I don't even know how they would explain it, it would make more sense to me. But as they're motoring along in this motorhome with scorching heat, I keep thinking, how does the air conditioning work in this thing? I mean, the other thing is when they hit gas stations, they have to fill up with gas. How is there still gas turned on, or how did the extreme heat not blow up this gas station along the way? There's just so many plot holes with that part of it. Then we'll get into another, again, it's a minor spoiler. At one point or another, they come across what appears to be a trap set up by other humans. They flee from the area, and there's this mysterious car. We didn't never get to see who's in the car. Mysterious car that's following them through the night and coming after them. And again, maybe it's cooler at night, I don't know. But how did this car survive, again, without becoming a complete hotbox? And I just felt that portion of it, them throwing this in here, introducing some potential bad guys, was okay, but they never really expanded on it. Like I say, there's two vehicles pass in the night. I'll just say that, and we don't know who's in the car or what they were even after. Again, I'm just nitpicking here with some minor spoilers, but again, the lack of explanation here to why these things work or why they don't work kind of distracts you from the movie. The other thing too is the whole objective of this robot is solely to protect this dog during the dog's life should Tom Hanks's character Finch pass away. Which leads you to think, okay, well, what if the dog passes away? I mean, dogs don't live forever, unfortunately. I wish they did, but they don't. What's the robot going to do after the dog dies? There's really no explanation or anything explained in the movie to suggest that this robot could carry on doing other things. So you almost wonder if the dog dies, does the robot just sit down beside the deceased dog and that's it? Again, that's not explained either, and I don't feel there will be a sequel to this, just the way the movie ends, etc. Yeah, there's some missed opportunities here with these small, minor nitpicking things, but had they explained them, this would be an overall perfect movie. But it doesn't take away from my enjoyment. I enjoyed this movie. It was more of a the emotional arc you see with these characters, and I have to give credit where credit is due. Tom Hanks doesn't make a real bad movie, unfortunately. I mean, there's been some previous ones like Cloud Atlas in the past, and I will say there was another Apple movie that he did. He must have a contract with Apple, Greyhound, which came out a couple years ago, which I quite enjoyed. But overall, it just didn't feel like a complete movie, and the same as this movie. It's almost like the Apple movies don't feel like complete movies. And I think why I can give this movie a little more praise than the other movies out there is because I didn't go to a movie theater. I didn't invest in popcorn, snacks, whatever, and I didn't lose a huge amount of money. We happen to have a free Apple subscription still for this year. Which leads me into another con, Apple TV. I mean, there's not a lot of content with this channel. I will be honest, the only reason I watched this, or was able to watch this, is because we recently purchased another laptop through Apple, so it gives you that free subscription. But when my previous one expired, I really didn't care to renew it. There's just not a lot of new content on Apple. It doesn't bring me into to paying for it. I have Netflix, I have Amazon Prime. Up here in Canada, I have Crave, which is like down in the States, it would be HBO Max. Um, but I don't have a real drive to invest and pay anything to have an Apple subscription. So that leads me to the con of only those who have Apple subscriptions are going to see this movie. So it kind of makes you wonder, like, you're not going to release it on a DVD or Blu-ray, because I'm thinking back to Greyhound now, and I don't recall that ever being offered on any other streaming service to this date, which is a missed opportunity. I think Greyhound was the type of movie would have been great for the movie theater experience. And I think Finch, for the most part, had they solve these plot lines, or maybe they can come back and fix them and then re-release them in a few months in the theater, it would do quite well. Overall, what do I give Finch on a scale of 1 to 10? I give Finch a 6.5. Well, actually, rethinking, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed the movie overall. Would I watch it again? Probably not. But overall, it was a good, entertaining movie that you could watch with your family. And I think the fact that it was free for me to watch made it even better. But I think should it have been shown in the big screens, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10 because I just don't think it was up to par to a big feature film. So if you've seen Finch, tell me what you thought. Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe my channel. See you later.